So we came up with a plan.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about this interview, right? Because everybody's been waiting for it for so long, and it finally came out, and people have questions. And
Yeah.
I feel like every time someone says the word interview, we have to take a shot.
How about a sip of beer?
Okay. Probably gonna die real quick.
We might die.
I'll just I got some Pepsi here, or some Coke rather.
Oh, just
I'll pour some
pretend.
of this in. Yeah, I'll just pour some of this in there. There we go. That was a big glove. I'm running out of this stuff. Nadine and Kim have to send us more of this stuff.
I think we need round two.
Yeah.
Well, mine went
Christmas
mine went overnight. not the same day I got it, but pretty quickly thereafter. I had a couple of people over and we put a dent in that puppy. What a beautiful bottle of whiskey. So I re-listened to the interview today. Now, okay, first of all, there's two versions of the interview, you said.
Well, it's the same interview, just one has extra shit in it. But yeah. There's the video and then there's audio. So like YouTube is not, I'm learning YouTube really isn't the right platform for like long drawn out kind of boring interviews.
Yeah.
It's more for like action oriented videos or whatever, right? And John wasn't super happy with like his placement in some of the, and like what he was doing with his hands and stuff. He said he looked fidgety. So we cut out a lot of the video, and that cut out a lot of the meat of the interview. So we just put out like an audio, so you can't see him doing this.
Okay.
Just hear it.
Okay. Anything? I mean, I've seen it, but are there any main things people would be missing if they only watch the video versus listening to the audio? Any big takeaways?
I talked about the St. Augustine painting at the end.
Okay.
That was something that wasn't in the video.
A little more of that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah. It's weird. Like I've watched both of the, like I checked because it took like almost 3 months for this video to come out. So I've been watching it and re-editing it so much that I can't remember what's there and what's not, like what's in the video versus what's in the audio. I just remember what happened, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't remember if there's anything in the audio. Like I would listen to the audio version because it's 3 times more John Palancar interview than is what in the video, because the video is like 30 minutes long and probably 15 of that's just me talking, and the audio version is like an hour long and it's none of me talking at all. So
we're missing some things is what you're saying.
Yeah. Listen to the thing.
Jerk. What are you hiding from us?
Graydon Kramer said, do you think there's something from the Soldiers and Sailors monument in the Cleveland painting? Is he remembering incorrectly?
I saw that.
Are you reading any of the comments, or is that?
I'm trying to. I'm trying to.
So to answer Graydon's comment, I think he was just misremembering, because like it's been 40 years. Dude was like just in college when he made these paintings. It's like, imagine you did a project 40 years ago that you forgot about for 40 years, and then people start coming up to you asking for details. You're not going to remember. I think he's not lying when he says like sometimes people say shit and it jogs his memory.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of times he's like reaching for answers that he doesn't remember. Like he's like this helmet, he knows it was on a statue, and he's like, it was the Soldiers and Sailors, maybe. Just kind of like when he was like when he said the fountain was somewhere around there, and I was like, no, that's the Italian Gardens. He's like, oh yeah, I remember now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like I don't think he's lying when he says he doesn't remember a lot of this shit.
Dude, I was thinking during this watching this back again, how incredibly impressed I was with how much he could remember. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking back to 40 years ago for me, and there's I mean, a project that I worked on. I mean, I haven't worked on something of this magnitude, right? But even the biggest things that I've worked on, I would struggle big time.
It was two back then.
Okay, I
I don't
was not.
remember. I don't remember anything.
Well, but so right. So when you can look back, when you're able to look back at a lucid time in your life 40 years ago, you'll be saying the same thing as me. It's, you know what I'm talking about. It's like
Dude, I can't remember shit from like 3 weeks ago.
I
I don't know.
exactly. So I'm actually pretty impressed. And it makes me think he doesn't drink very much.
He doesn't drink at all.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've had two drinks with the man.
Okay.
Um, after he like did his show, we went like it was in oh god, Connecticut. When I went to Connecticut
Yeah.
and he did his show and we went back that like we were gonna have dinner the next night, but he got snowed in. So we went to his hotel and they have this huge, like gorgeous bar restaurant area, and he had like white Russians or something.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, "What do you drink, George?" I was like, "Scotch." "What do you drink, John?" "White Russian." "Okay."
Wow. That's an interesting signature drink for somebody to have. Tara Chapman, what was the moment that changed the hunt for you pertaining to the, what's a
So
synonym for interview?
there were
So that we,
two. I expected going into this to hear a bunch of shit I'd never heard before, right? I expected that things were not as simple as I thought they were. And then when I went in there and he literally just went like, these are the latitude and longitude coordinates. This is over at the Italian gardens. This is over at the Greek gardens.
monument, right?
That's it. I was like, what? Seriously? That's it? And like even taking into consideration that these are the three easiest puzzles, right? So they would just be like, this is this. If they get progressively harder, they're not going to get that much harder later on, right? Does that make sense? You
It
don't
does.
you
However,
don't no, go ahead. Sorry.
he did say that he said something like, there, you shouldn't overthink it, but then again, you have to
You have to
overthink it.
overthink it. But he
He
wasn't
said
talking
that.
about the images there. He was talking about Byron. He was talking about the
The
verses.
and he was talking about how when the verse comes heavier into play,
Yeah,
then
that's
we're
what makes
hosed.
them harder.
Right.
That was one of the big things for me is when he talked about difficulty, it was taking the paintings out was what made them more difficult. It was the verses. Where when people focus on difficulty, they tend to focus on the paintings, like he's hiding maps or he's hiding directions or he's hiding whatever's in the paintings. When John talks about difficulty, he's like, no, it gets difficult when the paintings start going away. You know, or
Yeah.
not
And
going away, but when there's less in the paintings and more in the verses.
that was my big fear about this whole thing, that was going to be the case. And when I heard that, I was like, oh man, it's going to be another 40 years plus.
It's gonna be.
Okay, what was number two? And then we'll move on to something else.
Oh, you gave me a painting, dude.
Oh yeah, that part.